This is TNT Sports' Adam Summerton, and you're listening to Three Fish on the Shirt.
This is John Sander. You're listening to Three Fish on the Shirt.
Hour, fashion, fossils, and of course, PSG. So come with me and let's take a tour of PSG's headlines.
Work in the locker room, act like a manager holding a press conference, examine the wall of jerseys, marvel at the trophy case, hit the store and see what's in stock, learn about the club's history, and probably stop to take a few selfies. Of course, we will also check out the seats.
Good evening, welcome to this week's Three Fish on the Shirt. 6 unbeaten Steve, welcome.
Dave, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, didn't manage to win on Saturday to make it 5 in a row, but we got the six unbeaten and managed to get a draw at Cheltenham. Happy with that?
Oh yes, happy with the draw there because they were the fourth or the fifth best home record, I think it was, going there. So they're really hard to beat at their ground, and they drew up with Walsall, I think it was, on the Tuesday night, didn't they?
Yeah, and they came from behind.
They were 2-0 down and scored 2 goals in the 90th minute and 90 seconds. So we went there and obviously went behind, but when we go behind now, we seem to come back.
Much as I've loved to have won the game, I think before the game I'd have been happy with a draw. You know,
before the game, I was happy with the draw, but from what I could see from the stats, we should have won it. We had 20 shots.
Yeah, and equally in the things that happened during the game, we could have lost it as well.
We could have lost it as well. Yeah. No, I think a draw there. It's a long way to go as well. So I think a draw there with their home record was what I expected, to be honest. Say would have lost that. It was another game we could have lost easily last year.
Yeah,
but we didn't. So 20 shots we had.
Yeah, and of course we had a disallowed goal where Burns managed to get through and was judged marginally offside. And then I didn't get to see the whole game. I saw it from about 20 minutes or so in, thinking it was 0-0 when I joined it. It was 1. We were 1-0 down. But having caught up with the goal, I noted we'd also had a penalty given against us and had it saved by Jordan Wright again.
Yeah, it was a penalty. I think it's handball.
Yeah, it looked like it was. We've got a clip that we can just show over the top, and you can see the ball come into the box, gets to the far post, and there's an arm in there. I think it's Harvey Rogers. It's just in the wrong place for that sort of move, and any touch on the ball with your hand above your head that close to goal is chances are going to give a penalty. So I couldn't really argue with that one. Having seen many this year, He had somebody say after the game that they'd not had one this year. Don't know if that was true or not.
Yeah.
But
Don't know.
But Jordan Wright has saved 3 out of his 5 penalties, I think.
That was a great save. He went down to his to his left.
Yeah.
And I think he saved it with his right arm up. But it was a great save. He hit it quite well.
Yeah.
It was a good hell of a save. He managed to push it away as well. So yeah, it's good save. But then they scored shortly after.
Yeah, and it was a bit similar to one of the sort of goals we'd scored near the start of the season, where we short corner, create a bit of space edge of the box. Somebody has a shot from outside the box, like Vernham did against them at their place, at our place rather. Although it wasn't quite as spectacular, it was a bit lower, a bit of a grass cutter. It went all the way through and ended up in the net. And I think David Artell said after the game that it was just a hands up. They worked as well and created a goal out of something, which was credit to them rather than awful defending from us, which I suppose is true.
Well, their goal was it was a training ground routine, wasn't
it? Yeah.
For their corner, it was a corner, played short, sort of up the touchline, then played to the edge of the box. The referee nearly got in the way.
Yeah.
And then good finish. So yeah, we got done by that one, but
yeah. So do you think they played having the ref in the way?
Yeah, I was trying.
And then Corey had a great chance, got through 1-on-1 with the keeper. Seemed like he probably could have gone on a few more steps and steadied himself and probably made a decision. Went for it early and it kind of petered out as a chance.
I think it's Town Boss who played the ball.
Yeah, it was a great ball in, wasn't it? Great ball in.
Great ball. And he just panicked. He could have, like you say, he could have taken it on another couple of touches. Or one or two, and then he fluffed it a bit.
The encouraging thing about that is the positions we're getting ourselves in now. There from them sort of situations, and we're getting them little slide rule passes coming off now that the likes of Van Thorsen's getting into, which was really quite something, and I think bodes well for the future.
Yeah, definitely.
And so into the second half early on, it wasn't too long before Town got level. We came out looking like a decent team, the team that had gone in after the first half, looking that were making all the running, and came out and got the goal. I think from memory, my view of it was the Cheltenham defence went to sleep a bit when the ball went out for a throw. We took it quickly. Van Thorsen got down to the byline and skinned his man for the second or third time in not so many games and got the ball on the plate to Harvey Rogers.
Yeah, a good finish. I think
finished like a midfielder.
He's got a few goals now this season.
Well, in this
4 or 5,
in this 3-5-2 going forward, 5-3-2 coming back, it gives us license to have an odd spare man roaming about where maybe your opposition wouldn't expect him to be. You don't expect the centre half to be hovering around in the penalty area looking to shoot like that.
That was a decent finish. He was close in, but he still got to put it away, hasn't he?
But it's definitely a ploy because he's popping up in the box all over the place now and in wing positions sometimes. And you think, there's Rogers on the wing. It's comical in some respects. Yeah. So, sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying, he's like when Pearson was playing.
Yeah,
he got into some little dribbles, didn't he? Down there.
There's one that really sticks in the mind, and it my mate who was with at the game on the day, it just made us laugh. I think it was against Plymouth, and it was last game of the season. I think they were going up.
Yeah.
And he drilled a beat about 5 players into the penalty area, and then.
Was that the one in front of the box?
Yeah,
too?
It was.
He just kept on going, and he thought, "My God, I'm going to beat the whole lot here."
Yeah. And it was just one of them we were peeing ourselves laughing after that particular move. And then Jordan Wright turned his heroism into nearly villainy and then back into heroism again, all in the space of a few seconds. What did you make of that particular part of the play?
Well, he just sometimes he's quite slow in what he does. I think he's, like
deliberate,
I've seen it before.
Slow and deliberate.
Yeah, he's quite deliberate. He's trying to be calm and cool, but sometimes you think, oh, he's just got to get on with it and just move the ball a bit quicker. But because he for me, he appeared to have quite a lot of time to do whatever he wanted to do, and then he just dallied on it, and then the player just thought, oh, got a chance here, and he watched the chance and you think, how's he not scored that?
It reminded me of what Van Thorsen did to the Port Vale keeper,
All right, yeah.
Well, he chased the keeper down, didn't he? And
Yeah, at our place,
blocked the ball and then stole in and scored. But the difference here was that the chap didn't manage to get much on it, did he? It was real.
Just scuffed it a bit.
He scuffed it, and I mean, when you look at the replays back, slowed down. If you freeze it at about a second or so after he's given him the ball, Wright's given the ball away, you're looking at the goal, and if you paused it and said, right, what happens from here? There's probably 99% of guesses you'd say it's going to be a goal, apart from the fact you'd say somebody's asking me this, therefore it must be the opposite of what they're asking me because it's so obvious. That, you just can't see anything but a goal in that freeze frame. You know, in the style of the old question of sport. What happened next? You'd be saying goal.
Yeah, if he throws it like, what happened next? Well, he's got to score.
Yeah,
and obviously he didn't. He got a corner from it.
Yeah, not enough for them to move on. And then there looked to be really only one team that was going to go on and win the game, and it didn't come to pass. But we certainly looked dangerous, and as you say, the shot count tells its own story.
Yeah, 20 shots to 9 on target. And, it was a good point. Good point away. But that's the other thing. We had David Artell said we had 40 odd touches in their box.
Yeah.
But we only managed to get one goal.
Yeah.
That's a lot of touches in the box, isn't it? In a game.
It is, yeah.
So,
and he said it's not all about touches, it's about what you do as well. So but it'd be a worry if you're not getting in there. That's the challenge, isn't it? Is we're getting in there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we need to do. So Darragh Burns made his first start, bit of a makeshift striker. I think he worked hard by the sounds of it, but wasn't able to stamp too much on the game, but he's still a bit rusty.
Yeah, so he replaced Barrington, wasn't
he? He did,
in the starting.
He said they just felt they needed something a bit different against Cheltenham.
Yeah, so it's given him a taste, hasn't it?
Yeah,
and he got taken off. He got took off in the 69th minute.
Yeah,
Luca came on for him, and he made substitutions. Yeah, so it's good to get 69 minutes on him, 70 minutes on him,
and that's what he needs in some respects. And having the squad we've got now, we're in a position to be able to do that, aren't we? Which we haven't been previously in the season.
Yeah,
so that's something.
Got some good. So you got Thompson on for McCracken, Luca on for Burns, Warren on for Rogers.
Yeah.
Warren, I like him.
Yeah. And I think from my memory of the comments after the game, I don't think Rogers was off as a precaution. He was a bit spent, and we can cope with that kind of change now, can't we?
Well, yeah, they're playing it's the same team pretty much now, isn't it? Every week.
But isn't it funny though when it's the same team every week? Everybody wants to play, don't they? When you're winning, and
that's absolutely
yeah. So that's
that was a good point, and we're in the 8th in the table, which is a nice, comfortable 8th now.
Yeah, and it's very tight, isn't it? Above and not so tight below now, which is it's a shame. Sometimes a run like we've just had would propel you up the league. This has kept us in touch and just tightened that playoff.
Well, that's it.
Zone up,
looking at we're not going to like tomorrow night's game. We're going to stay where we are pretty much because of the points and our goal difference and the points. The team below us, Salford, have got the 4 points below us, so we're going to stay pretty much where we are, independent of the result. But we've got a massive chance to get a good gap to 9th.
Yeah, and tomorrow. Tighten the screw on the playoffs and
on 7th.
The more points we put into that sort of 8th spot, the more challenging it is when someone slips up. Sorry.
I mean, if we win tomorrow against Tranmere, that's 5 wins, 2 draws, no defeats. It's like promotion form, that.
But as with all things Town, it's probably not a foregone conclusion. We'll come back to that. Obviously, a big clue. The match winner last time is out recently after his car bump, but get well soon goes out to him. It'd be nice to see him back fairly sharpish, I think.
Is he back for tomorrow night?
I don't know. No. It was talked about. I think Artell was keeping his cards close to his chest. He doesn't like to give much away to the opponents, does he?
Well, we've got a chance. Yes. So yeah, Cheltenham game, great result.
Yep.
Would have won it, but yeah,
We'll take
but
a draw.
draw's
If
decent.
we're winning our own games and drawing our away games, you'd be reasonably happy, wouldn't you? And we've had the best return over the last 5 games of any club. I noticed David Artell he's become a feature of his position now. We're in a more winning position. Is that he's happy to share that he's got a kind of chronic dissatisfaction about where things are. So in terms of his own improvement, in terms of the team's improvement, however good they are, there's still always room for improvement on that. And I quite like that about him. It's
he's
positive.
spot on. You think about where he was this time last year.
Yeah,
it's mad.
Getting leathered by Doncasters and your Walsalls, and
you remember when he said to us, "We won't get relegated," and I was like, "Oh, that's a bit of a statement."
Yeah.
And it'll take 2-3 years. Well, he's only been there. Was it 14, 15 months now? So he's not even halfway through his projections.
It's building. So
yeah, and you look at all the other teams, they're chopping and changing. A lot of not all of them, but there's a lot of managers gone this season.
Yeah, and I think there was a notable one this week, which was the Mike Williamson has been sacked. Obviously, Mark Hughes came in, but the person that took over from him at MK Dons has now been sacked as well.
He's been sacked, yeah. So it's a merry-go-round.
The merry-go-round. You got something for me on that? I'm hearing on the grapevine.
I had a quick look through how many clubs have sacked the manager in League Two so far. So, any guesses on how many?
I've gone. Well, let's work it out.
I think I'm right on how many.
We've got Scott Lindsay's gone.
Yeah.
Mike Williamson's been sacked. Might not be able to get all the names, but I'll definitely be able to get some of the clubs.
William sacked from Carlisle.
Yeah.
Scott Lindsay, MK Dons. Yeah.
The guy who was at Swindon. Or did he leave?
Mark Kennedy.
Did he leave or was he sacked? Sacked. Yeah.
He was sacked.
I'll have him then.
Yeah, Mark. Well done for that one. Yeah. So you've had Swindon, Mark, MK Dons, Carlisle.
How many have we got left? How many have we got left?
You've got 4 more.
4 more. Oh.
So, who did we play start of the season?
Oh, Fleetwood.
First game.
Charlie Adam.
Yeah. Charlie Adam, yeah. He went at some point.
Charlie Adam, I think.
I'm
trying to think of the
what else we got?
Trying to think of the league table.
Well, Carlisle, I think, have had 2 managers sacked this season.
Oh, right. Did they sack the guy they sacked to put Mike Williamson?
Paul Simpson.
Yeah.
He was there at the start of the season, and then he got sacked, I think, and then Williamson's come in, and he's gone.
Yeah.
So that's 2 in the same club. What else? And then we played a team up in the Lake District area just before. Yes, and their manager got sacked.
Yeah.
Just before we played him, Steve Clements.
That's right. Yeah, he was from Gillingham, wasn't he? So
yeah.
Was it?
And then your mate's club.
My mate. Oh, Tranmere. Sacked Atkins. Yeah.
So that's 7 clubs and 1 club, Carlisle, with 2 managers.
Wow, that's a lot of manager change around, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean they're all near the bottom, apart from Fleetwood have improved, and Swindon, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but I was going through them. I thought, the only one that's surprised me, like Morecambe. I mean, they're right. They've still got the same manager. Derek Adam, I think is. He's second from bottom. So, and the Harrogate, they haven't.
They've managed for about 20 years, have they?
About 20 years, yeah. So it's not in their nature, is it, that one? But
if he's
I was surprised. I mean,
he's safe now. He's been as safe as he's probably been for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I've did my bit of background on X-Town analytics, so that's my X-Town players that scored for others. Only got 3 this week. It's a bit of light. It's been cup weekend.
I think I got.
There's only 1 in the AFL.
Is there?
Yeah.
I got 1. Christian Dennis.
Yeah, Christian Dennis scored in a 1-1 draw against Port Vale. Tranmere had Connor Wood sent off, so he won't feature on Tuesday night. So I'm hoping he's one of their good players, but chances are he's not because he's playing for Tranmere. Said that to my mate this morning. He wasn't happy.
What did he say? Sorry.
I said Connor Wood got sent off on Saturday, so he won't feature on Tuesday. So I hope he's one of your good players. But I said if he's one of your good players, he won't be playing for you.
Sorry,
but never mind. The others were outside the league. There was one in the National League. Harry Cardwell, Forest Green Rovers, 2-0 winners over Maidenhead, and Harry Davis for Fylde in a 1-1 draw against Gateshead.
Can't remember him. Harry Davis.
Harry Davis. Somebody mentioned him the other day, and I thought, I wonder if it's the same guy, and it was.
Right.
And then totally unlinked to Grimsby Town, other than by blood, and that is Zach McEachran scored for Oxford City. I always keep pulling him out every time I go rooting through the league to see that McEachran scored, and it's his brother in a 2-2 draw for Oxford City against Woking. So that's that. That very, very tenuous link out there.
Very tenuous, yes. Yeah. I see. I was looking to see McAtee was back at Wrexham, wasn't he?
Yes, 0-0 draw for them.
0-0 draw, yeah.
And 2 years since Southampton. We mentioned it earlier when we were talking to Jack, or later when we talked to Jack, should I say?
I watched that.
And you were there.
I was there.
Great memories.
All the way down and all the way back in one day.
Of a great cup run.
Yeah.
In the days that predate the podcast. So what was that like, being there that night?
Oh, it was a long day, but what a night! And that was my first experience, actually, of being at a match with VAR.
Yes,
because there were several incidents, wasn't there? There was the first penalty was handball by Khaled Tassar, and that went to VAR, and that took it took about 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, it takes ages. It must be worse in the stadium because at least on the telly you can see what's happening, can't you?
Yeah, and then there was they got back to 2-1, and then what's the name scored? Didn't he? Walcott, and of course we were at the other end of the stadium, but I don't know. I just thought, he's got to be offside, and it went to VAR. It took 5-6 minutes. Yeah. It took ages, forever.
And it was offside. It was tight.
Yeah, but you're just looking at the screen. And it said, result pending" or whatever it said, and
you're like, pending. Yeah.
You're like, yeah, what's? Me and Bradley just stress of it all. Never experienced VAR before. It was a bit weird.
I didn't experience it until the Brighton game. And there was, I think, a goal that stopped it being 6-0. I think was disallowed.
Oh, that's all right.
I was disappointed in that game, though, that the keeper didn't get a battering for taking the ball outside the area. You sent me a VAR picture to my phone while I was at the match. And,
for the handball?
Yeah, for the keeper. Yeah, handle outside the area.
Yeah, he went down, yeah. They're in the semis again, aren't they? Brighton.
Yeah. But 2 years since that. Didn't time fly? It's gone really, really quick.
Great night, that.
On to the Tranmere game then. So Tranmere's got an interim manager. I've forgotten the guy's name.
Ex-Scunny player.
Is it him? Yeah.
Yeah, Crosby.
What's his name? Crosby. Yeah, Andy Crosby.
Andy Crosby, yeah, he played at Scunny for a long time.
Yeah. So Town go into the match in 8th, as you say. 16 wins, 4 draws and 13 defeats on 52 points. Tranmere on 6 wins, 11 draws and 17 defeats with 29 points. They've scored 24 goals to our 47, and we've let in similar number of goals. They've let in 53, we've let in 49. So it's on paper, these are the games you'd want to be winning. But we all know, don't we, that these games are always a bit of a banana skin. Last 6, Town drawn, 4 wins and a draw. Tranmere lost, drawn, lost, drawn. So 3 points from the last 6 games to our 14. So there's no doubt where the form is. And as I said, we've got our guest joining us tomorrow night at BP from the Wirral. So that'll be fun. And I'm sure he'll enjoy the day. He's not looking forward to it at all.
Well, as long as that blooming Christian Dennis don't score like he did last
yeah,
time, and
no.
he celebrated in front of the pontoon.
No, he can get stuffed, can't he? So we need to give him a kick in earlier on.
Yeah, nobble him, yeah.
Didn't say that out loud.
No.
So yeah, from one guest to tomorrow night to tonight's guest, we've got Jack GRIMSE coming on from across the pond, sourced by the tenuous link to our football club by his name. I've noticed his content over the years on YouTube, and I got in touch with him earlier in the year, and we discussed him coming on to talk to us about football in general and his view on British football. And he's the epitome of a British football fan, but he's American. And I know we can be quite snooty as Brits looking down our noses at American football fans, but he's probably the only American I've come across who comes across like a British football fan. So it'd be really interesting to talk to him. So we'll come back to Jack after the break.
This is Jack GRIMSE, and you're listening to Three Fish on the Shirt.
Welcome back. We're back with our guest from across the pond. It's Jack GRIMSE, the appropriately named Jack GRIMSE. Nice to meet you, Jack. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you having me on. And while you're going to get into it, I am sorry to say that there is no connection between GRIMSE and Grimsby. Well, at least until now.
Oh, I was going to say there absolutely is now, and you're more than welcome. It was that tenuous link that made me notice your content to starters. So by whatever means the link is made, it's always good to talk to people about football. So having looked at your content, you are a more a typical British football fan than you are an American football fan. And as I know we talked briefly before, British people tend to be a bit snooty about American football fans following English football. So have you come across that? And to us, you come across as more of a British football fanatic, if you know what I mean.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate it, and I have definitely come across some, I guess, chatter, you could call it, from British football fans or from overseas football fans just by the nature of being American. But I tried to be authentic with the content, and while football is maybe not the first sport that I've discovered, I grew up following American sports. And like you were saying right before the show, if you find a new stadium, if it's a baseball stadium or if it's a football stadium, or here now in MLS we're always calling them soccer specific stadiums, because if I said football specific stadium, you might think of MetLife. And although it's going to host the World Cup final, it's not really the right size because the pitch is not the right dimensions. But
and we have the same snobbery in the UK. As you may be aware of, West Ham and the Olympic Stadium conversion is not fanaticized about by football traditionalists. That we say that it's not built for football and it's not got the right atmosphere. We've been there with our team, but it was a great day. But yeah, as for football traditionalists, small grounds like ours is kind of where it's at for us, for some of us anyway. So
I was only looking at some videos and pictures. I've only been as far north as Manchester in England, but obviously not as far east as Grimsby. And it looks, as much as you could say about a stadium like the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that's just completely state of the art, there's something special about a stadium like yours, and also especially being right on the waterfront. That's just from what I understand, what I've been doing a little light reading, that's a very culturally important part of your part of the world.
Yeah, and it's the closest ground to sea level in the UK, 2 feet above sea level as well. For anybody who's interested.
Well, we actually play in Cleethorpes, don't we?
Yeah, so it's in the next town along.
The next town along. So we don't play in Grimsby. We actually play in a little town called where I live in Cleethorpes.
It seems dangerously close to sea level.
It is. Yeah. We don't flood just yet. Sea defences are quite good. The other bizarre thing is that the neighbouring town's football club, Cleethorpes Town, playing Grimsby. Just over the bottom. So they've kind of swapped over.
That's just one of those things about English football and about the football world that made me fall in love with the game. And you have all these little idiosyncronicities or whatever you call them, but it's hilarious. And there's never a dull moment, I think, being a a football fan.
I would agree with that, Jack. So how did you get into to football as opposed to the probably traditional American sports?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think growing up, like I had just said, I was into the American sports, kind of played them. I think baseball was probably my favorite to play. And at that time, I didn't have a big cultural connection to soccer, to football. There wasn't someone in my family who had played the sport, or I didn't have any neighbors that were season ticket holders at Chicago Fire, who would have been the local team where I grew up. But one summer I was working as a caddy, a golf caddy, and everyone was watching the World Cup. It was so early in the morning. I think it was the one in Germany, 2006. And I didn't really get it, but I could see the passion of the fans and started kind of exploring it and thought, these people are crazy about this. I think there's some level of fanaticism about sports here in the States, but it's really not at the same level as European football and particularly English football. So over the years, I started exploring it a little more. And some Saturday mornings, if I was up early, I would turn on Fox or ESPN, who had the Premier League at that time, which is the most widely televised in English sport in this country. The most watched is Liga MX, the Mexican league. But as as the Premier League continues to grow and grow, I was watching it from the early days, and some of my friends were playing FIFA, so gaming has always been something I've been into and have been able to use to relate to sports, whether it was playing dynasties in Madden or MVP baseball or whatever it was. But I didn't know enough about any of these teams or any of these leagues or anything to be competitive in FIFA with my friends. So that was obviously a problem. And a lot of my friends had played the sport either on the school teams or I guess probably a subject for another podcast, but the non-school leagues that dominate the pay-for-play structure in the United States. Anyway, I needed to find a team, I guess, for various reasons, because I didn't think I'd be able to really follow the sport as a neutral. While I follow some leagues as a neutral now, I just didn't have any baseline knowledge, right? So I was just flipping through or watching a game on ESPN, and it happened to be between Aston Villa and Everton, and Villa won in very dramatic fashion. You can see a shortened version of my long spiel on my YouTube channel. But anyway, kind of found the Villa, found some stuff I had, and like I always really liked the colors. And even though I didn't know that because in America no one has the colors claret and blue, but comparatively they're relatively popular in England. So I don't know, I kind of always liked the colors, and from that moment on just started following Villa, and from there I kind of obviously followed from afar. One year I was living in Berlin and went over to Villa Park for the first time, and have been back 3 other times. And since graduating from school, I did a degree in broadcast journalism, and since then I had been writing and podcasting about Villa and other football and other sports, but really wanted to make it part of my career. So had done that through obviously freelancing at first, and going on to work at beIN Sports, Copa 90, and then at a gaming and sports agency most recently, before I've been working for myself and have other clients in the football space and in other space. So, I kind of fell so hard that I thought I have to do this as a career, otherwise I'm not going to be able to follow it, because there's so many leagues and teams and competitions.
That's a fantastic dedication, to your cause. And I think there's a saying we have over here. It's probably similar to where you are. If you find something you love, you'll never do a day's work in your life. And it's back to that. Working on something you're passionate about has got to be great for your enjoyment of life in general.
Yeah, I think for the most part, some days maybe I think I put a little too much into it, and it would be better to not have so many thoughts dominated by the result of a game. But no, it's an amazing privilege, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that in this country, as you will know well, the interest level amongst fans is right down to the sort of fourth and fifth tier of the divisions. So we're in the region of, what is it, Steve? 5,500 season ticket holders.
Yeah,
and we regularly get 7,000 plus crowds. And
we're in the fourth tier,
Yeah.
League Two. We used to be in the Championship not so long ago, which is the one league below the Premier League, and we get 4,500.
Yeah, so all those years ago,
and now we're getting 6.5, and we're 2 leagues lower.
Yeah.
It's just
it's mind blowing to me when the conversation. It's again probably in a different podcast, but the conversations about promotion, relegation in this country and how the teams can't sustain themselves. Well, they obviously can at that level, and you have such a smaller population, but the dedication is still there.
Yeah, it's very much part of the community, and our ownership is really keen that investment in the community is, and the link with the community is there, which is why we like to do what we do as well.
Yeah, just saying. I think the standard. I was reading an article about Mark Hughes. I don't know if you know Mark Hughes, Alex.
Yeah.
He's manager of Carlisle now, which is they're bottom of our league, and he's played for Man United and played at the top level. And he they're saying, why are you managing a team that's bottom of League Two when you could be, he must be a millionaire, but he just loves it. He just loves going to work, coaching. And he's played at the highest level, but he's traveling 2 or 3 hours just to manage this team that's bottom of the league. And the passion it's there right away down. And he said the standard of League Two is a lot higher than than people think. It's a good standard.
Although somebody did say that at the minute that Carlisle are so bad, he's the best striker at the club.
Oh well, yeah, they've got 48 players. I read today as well.
Yeah, they've got into panic mode and started playing players.
Yeah.
So he's got the football management equivalent of your job, Jack. He loves his job.
Just loves it.
Yeah.
It's
crazy. It's crazy. And it is so competitive. I know, I did a few videos on the Welcome to Wrexham series and seeing the great clubs that are down in League Two and also out of the Football League trying to get in, and they're not even at the professional level. But
well, remember the last episode of Welcome to Wrexham Series 1? That was us. We were there. That was the 5-4 game. We actually had the TNT Sports commentator on, Adam Somerton, who joined us to talk about that game. It's one of the most bizarre games he's ever commentated on. Steve and I were like just a spent force at the end of the game, weren't we? We had to be sort of carried from the ground.
Yeah,
because it was a big step for getting back into the league.
Yeah, we were shattered. My dad was 86 then, and he was at the game with me, and he was absolutely. I was worried about him.
Yeah, no kidding.
and I don't know if you noticed, Jack, and 2 years ago, pretty much to this month, we were in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. We managed to make it to the quarterfinals for the first time in a long time. Does that stuff percolate across the pond when bizarre things like that happen with our league structure?
Definitely. I mean, even seeing the results, if you're just scrolling through the Scores app and you see it was a 5-4 thriller, for me, or I think for a lot of other football fans, you're just going to click through and see like what happened here. That was insane. Or like especially if Grimsby or another team that's even not out of the Championship, lower than the Championship, makes it to the FA Cup quarterfinals, that's going to resonate with fans here who are passionate about the game.
Yeah, that's excellent. So another thing you specialize in is football shirts. So does that just go along with the passion, or is that something you've always sort of an interest in?
I will say transparently, it was kind of an excuse to keep doing the content because I was collecting so many shirts, and my partner, she said, she's like, "Oh, you're getting too many shirts," and I thought, well, I'll kind of have to kick on with my own social content because I like I had talked a little bit about my content creation journey earlier. I wasn't really creating for myself until summer of 2021. I'd been working for brands or doing things at the agency level or working for leagues, but wasn't producing my own video content. And so I thought, okay, this is a great excuse to collect these shirts and kind of have some content out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And how did you make the leap into the sort of broadcasting side of things with beIN and the like? How did that come about?
Yeah, it was I think kind of a combination of fortuitous luck, as many things are, but also the work I was doing and putting myself out into the space, meeting people, and I'd been doing podcasting and writing at the time, and luckily had a friend that was at the company and was able to help me apply for a job and be selected there.
Yeah, and you've done quite a bit of traveling with your vlogging or your content. What are the highlights of that? What things really stand out in your memories on that?
Yeah, there's so many of them. Definitely being at the Champions League first one at Villa Park in, I don't know, 42 years. I'm already forgetting. 41 years. Last October. But also, since I wasn't going to bring it up when you were talking about Mark Hughes, but he wanted to just manage Carlisle like Bill Shankly, right? Who has that connection to Grimsby Town, of course, as well. And had a trip where I did Chelsea, or it was Liverpool on a Thursday, Chelsea on a Saturday, Villa on Sunday, and just being able to go to 3 historic English grounds like that, and basically a weekend was a lot of fun. Always love going to Germany, and I've had a few trips there, and Mexico as well with Bayer Leverkusen was a good one. But I think the 2022 World Cup was special to me because I was supposed to go in 2018, but the US didn't make the World Cup, so a few budgets had been cut, and I was just itching to get to a World Cup. But just seeing, I don't know, like meeting fans from every country in the world, even countries who weren't playing, and we all have this common bond of loving football, and being together with those kind of people is always special to me. It reminds me of being a kid and being a fan, and just why we want to do these kind of things that we do, or dedicate so much time and effort to talking about football, I guess.
Yeah. I think you've got a very widespread of interest, haven't you, in terms of you've got your core support for your beloved Villa, and you've got your wide knowledge of sort of world football now, given that you've had exposure to that much sort of stadiums, teams, matches, and quite close contact. What are your plans for the future, sort of near and far? What's your view on the future in terms of your content?
Yeah,
what you want to do?
Definitely want to get out to some more stadiums, whether they're in Europe or here in the States, especially definitely Grimsby sometime. And I'll probably combine it with the trip to Grimsby Island, excuse me, that's just north of Iceland, which I don't know if it's part of the etymology. I was definitely nerding out on Wikipedia before this episode.
We've just managed to make some further links with Iceland and the Faroe Islands in our signings of Geza Churi and Jason Thorson, and we've been scouring the lower leagues for untapped talent, and we've signed these 2 players who one of which has been in with us since the start of the season, is really starting to come to the fore now. And
he's really playing well now.
Yeah, Jason and Geza Churi.
Yeah, and I saw you had some insight from Siggy last episode.
Yes,
as well.
Yeah. It was a really good guest because we don't normally interact with that kind of world with different types of football or different areas of football. It's really good smashing for those people to come on and talk to us and explain to us about the culture, because if you don't know, there's only one way to find out, and that's to ask people who know, and hence just asking yourself to come on. So, have you got any immediate trips planned then, or are you sort of looking out for opportunities?
No, looking to put some stuff on the diary, but with the Club World Cup coming up, the summer is always busy with the European clubs coming over here. I was working with the International Champions Cup a few years ago, and there was always a big demand with summer friendlies, and trying to get out to some more MLS clubs as well this season.
Yeah, the Premier League teams certainly like to do their brand building in the summer, don't they? Much to the disgust of some of us lower football people.
Oh,
because,
Wrexham were out there, weren't they, last summer?
yeah, because some of the cup competitions have been curtailed because of too high numbers of fixtures. So they've cut out the replays out the FA Cup, citing this reason that there's too many games. And then the minute the season's finished, they go off and play a load more games.
Especially the postseason friendlies, like Spurs, I think, went to Australia last year, and United have some booked this year.
And pretty much the minute the season finished, they're on the plane, and that don't go down too well with teams in the lower leagues who potentially lose out on the ability to pull a replay out of a big club. But
that's true. I was curious how you see that, because on one hand you might have a better chance to get through to the next round, right? If it really is your day, especially with the League Cup. I mean, the League Cup going straight to penalties is probably more advantageous than playing another 30.
Yeah, that's true. I think the beauty of it is hanging on for a draw and bringing them back to your own
That's
ground.
The thing.
Or
that's the thing. If
hanging
you're
on
away
for a
from
draw,
home, because I would think
and getting to the big club's ground and a chance for a bigger payday, if you like, for the club.
Yeah, that's true. I was just thinking that if it was at your stadium and it goes maybe straight to penalties, and you're with your supporters and connected, that you maybe have a better chance to get through. And the gate receipts is obviously very important, but also to go down in history with one of those giant killings.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think when you think about our last FA Cup journey, if you like, we beat the top of the top team in the competition at the stage in the first round, and then we beat a team above us in every level going up, and then until we got to Luton, who were top of the Championship, about ready to go to the Premier League, and drew with them at their place, brought them back on a really hot atmosphere at Blundell Park, wasn't it, that night, Steve? And we just ripped them apart.
Luton?
Luton, yeah.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Tore them to pieces.
Then we're drawn away at Southampton. You think, oh, well, it was a nice journey while it lasted. And no replay to go out, and we managed to beat them. So, yeah.
That was a great night. Great night.
It was a journey and a half. And I think some of those things may have run different, but in the Luton game, we got the replay, brought them back to ours, and absolutely annihilated.
That's it. Yeah, we drew at their place, and then we got a great night at Blundell Park, didn't we?
Yeah, and none of which would happen this season because of the removal of the replays.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have our issues with it.
There's pros and cons with it.
Yeah, there is. The argument is that for the number of replays for many smaller clubs, by removing the replays and increasing the prize money for getting to a certain round, each club's individual chance of earning more money is improved. That's the overall answer from the FA. But it's still, there's a lot of traditionalists who love what we call the magic of the FA Cup. And
I obviously have an outsider's opinion, but I think there definitely is some more money that can be shared down the pyramid through all these teams that are really supporting and the foundation of the Premier League. Because if there wasn't this much passion and this much talent at the lower level, you're not going to have something like that.
Yeah, and that's a big debate that's going on at the moment with the government trying to bring in a football regulator to make them pay down the leagues, which is up and coming. But there's lots of history and lots of really strong feeling when things like that come out.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things when you were learning about the game and you learn that one of these cup replays went to 4 or 5 replays back in the day because it just couldn't be settled, and that's just comical.
Yeah.
You can draw a line under that somewhere and say, okay, we can get behind that. I remember in the years Steve and I probably started going in the late 70s, early 80s.
Hang on.
We had a league cup game that went to 3 replays, I think it was, or 2 replays.
There was one went to 3 replays. Yeah, I remember that one.
Played Wolves at home, drew 0-0.
Wolves
1-1 at theirs, and then we lost 2-0 at a neutral ground, and that never happens now, does it?
Like I remember, you end up playing like that round game. Say it's a second round, and you're still playing the second round when teams are playing the third and fourth round, and then the draw for the next round was 2 teams versus maybe 3 teams or something.
Yeah.
or
because there's game, or game, so you didn't know who you're playing really.
So, Jack, MLS is building over in the US now. What's your view of the MLS? How's that coming along? Is it getting the followers?
Yeah, I think I think people were saying that Messi has made the league arrive. Maybe it's a simplistic view of it, but I think Messi has made a lot of people care, whether it's the local news now being among the press at a game in New York because Messi is playing there, or whether it's because kids are like, I want Messi's shirt, so I'm seeing kids run around in soccer jerseys because previously they would have just had NFL jerseys or something. So, I think he's brought some widespread appeal, but if you're watching closely, you know that there's a lot of quality MLS players that have been bought by clubs overseas in Europe or in South America. And I think really from a competition perspective, growing into in part a selling league is an important next step rather than just being the final destination for a Zlatan. Well, maybe not for Zlatan, but for Andrea Pirlo or someone like that who came over to see out their final days. But the level of the competition is growing. The level of interest in the sport is growing. I think MLS is part of that. Also, the growth of the Premier League or even clubs outside of the Premier League in England or other European clubs is a big area of growth. But it's kind of just becoming a very culturally popular across the board.
Yeah, and if you can beat the Grimsby Town drum for us to get a big followership in the United States and build our brand, then we have got some unnamed American investors involved in the club, but they're very much in the background at the minute. And
I think everyone's getting excited about it from an investment standpoint. But if you're a Grimsby Town fan and you're listening, sorry, I'll give you a better call than that. But if you're a Grimsby Town fan, listen and watch the Three Fish on a Shirt podcast, especially if you're in America.
Thank you.
Up the Mariners.
We'll definitely
the Mariners.
we'll definitely be clipping that. And
what did Siggy say? He called up the Grimsby, didn't he?
Up the Grimsby. We had to correct him in the nicest possible way. It was a lovely chat. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And do you have your own team that you follow in United States football? Do you follow a team?
No, I've tried to stay out of it and stay as a neutral. Really, I'm only supporting Aston Villa, so I think it's just too much for me if I'm living and dying by the results of a multitude of teams.
I know what you mean. We know how much it takes for time and space thinking and creating content about Grimsby Town. A relatively small club in England. So you start going down the road of bigger clubs and following more than one, then you really are. You do have a challenge, and that's another thing that sets you apart as a you're more of a British football fan than you are an American British football fan in the way you you follow the game.
I have collected all these shirts, but
yeah.
I was just going to say about Aston Villa in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. Who they got in the draw?
We're going to Preston North End next week.
Preston, who's the only
Deep Dale.
Deep Dale, that's it. Yeah, that's the only non-Premier League team left.
Yeah, that looks a lot.
I was reading on the Athletic this morning as I do when I always have my breakfast, but they were saying this maybe is not the favored draw of all of the top broadcasters because only Man City is left from the big five really of teams that have won 22 of the last 25 FA Cups, but there is only one club from outside the Premier League, but it is still great for other clubs to win something.
Oh, it's such a wide open competition this year. As I say, only Man City really. The rest of them, like Fulham and Bournemouth and clubs like that, they've never won it. So it's a massive opportunity.
Manchester City are in a real spot this year, aren't they? They're really struggling to sort of find the form of their former years or the most recent years. Anyway, that's it.
It's kind of finally all caught up to them or something.
Maybe so, and that may be off the pitch as well soon if we get to find out. So Villa, in the quarterfinal of the cup, Preston. It's a good draw to get through, but the FA Cup has a habit of throwing up these ties and making them more.
That's going to be a tough. That's going to be a tough
difficult.
game. That
It will.
at Preston.
Yeah.
It's like a throwback to the end of the 19th century.
Yeah. It will be.
Yeah.
although Deepdale looks a lot different than to what it did when I was last
But
there. Certainly.
There was a big club though, wasn't there? Preston years ago.
Preston were massive, and as Jack says, it is a real throwback. Throwback, game, isn't it? And back in the days when I last was there, it was one of the only plastic pitches in the UK. That's when plastic pitches were basically concrete with a bit of green stuff on top.
Not spray paint.
Yeah, none of your 5G woven, partially real grass built in. We had an ex Grimsby Town player who played for. I don't think he actually turned out from in the first team, but he played at Preston. Steve Saunders, and he was saying his ankles were. Oh, he was always having trouble with his ankles because he was fast, and if he stopped on the surface, your feet stopped, but your body kept going. So, and what are your hopes for the national team, Jack? Are you an avid follower of the state's national team?
I mean, I follow them just to kind of see how they're getting on, and I think it's not always an accurate assessment of how football is doing in this country and development is, but it's always interesting because as far back as like the 2002 World Cup, we were very competitive, and you would have expected that the level would have kicked on a little bit more in 20 years, but it's national team politics are always interesting, and sometimes it's just the culture of you get the right players together at the right time, or those guys were all playing together as part of Generation Adidas and some of those initiatives, and now people are playing for a lot of different clubs in Europe. So I think all the individual players are doing a lot better, but collectively it's interesting to see if Pochettino can now get the best out of this group.
Yeah.
And like hosting a World Cup, you don't have the qualifiers, which sometimes are the games you need to put you at a high enough level to be ready for World Cup. So,
because you end up playing a load of friendlies ahead of the World Cup to keep going, but then they don't mean much. So you are a bit of a challenge. I noticed you've got an England training shirt there behind us. Was that for our benefit, or was that just a?
Yeah, I did actually put these two England ones facing each other for your benefit. But
I can see that. Yeah, is that Vauxhall on it? Is it Vauxhall?
Yeah, it's like an
old. I'd not picked the blue one.
2000s era.
Yeah, I'd not picked the blue one as England.
This is the away from the Euros a couple years ago.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for thinking of us like that. It was very, very kind of you.
Not a Grimsby Town shirt then.
No, I don't. As far as English clubs, I only have Villa, but since I was doing the Wrexham series, I do have one of their shirts, but I know they're probably not your favorites. So,
well, they've got one.
You're probably not their favorites or something.
They've got one over on us by leapfrogging us in the leagues now since we dumped them out of the. But I always say to their fans, we gave them a year to win a championship. We enabled that championship year from going up out the playoffs is only fun if you're us. So, no, but they're good. Your view on the American ownership and right, Ryan Reynolds, and I know he's Canadian, but and Rob McElhenney, isn't it? That's the way I was trying to pronounce it correctly. Do you think those guys can sustain a club in the long run? Do you think their interest will remain? They seem to have quite a lot of fingers in a lot of pies. Do you think that'll be lasting?
I wonder. I mean, I think Wrexham will always be special to them, but I wonder if they've discovered the potentially lucrative benefits of a multi-club ownership model because of Ryan Reynolds' ties in very many businesses. He's ultimately a big businessman, but I think especially with somewhere like Wrexham where there is so much history, and I mean, like any one of these historic clubs, there's so much connection to the community, and it means so much to the community that I think it is special. But as you mentioned, he's already getting involved in clubs in Mexico or bringing in now outside ownership into their ownership group and dividing the shares of Wrexham. So, he stands to be able to make an awful lot of money off of it, which isn't necessarily, I don't think, just the wrong thing to do, because he's still delivering success on the pitch for those fans.
Yeah, and Wrexham were really struggling. I mean, not 3 or 4 years before they joined, Wrexham were in their 10, 12, 13th season in non-league on crowds of about
Yeah.
2,000.
And
So,
that is very dangerous because you slip too far and you'll lose your stadium and you'll really lose everything.
well, and they nearly did,
But-
and I think that's why it's been such a rags to riches story in one respect. Something not lost on fans in the leagues around them who, seeing the money coming in, felt it is
quite a
rags
though,
to
right?
riches story. But
Yeah. It is interesting to see the ownership interest, especially from Americans, because it almost has to be that story for your Euros and owners, their dream of 10x, 20x, 30x gains, because it's not like you could come in and just stabilize the club and make a big profit off of doing so, even if that's what maybe is, in the club's best interest, at least at first, because we've seen so many of these foreign owners come in to buy English clubs, and it's big dreams, big hype, and then it's bust, and they're off worse than they were before.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the fears for a club like ours, that we've got owners now that are looking to build a sustainable model, and a kind of lobby in the football world for that kind of landscape for those clubs. And we had a prominent UK football finance expert, Kieran Maguire, came on to talk to us about that, and he was sort of saying these guys are in it for the long run to stabilise the club and make it so that regardless of where it is, there's still a Grimsby Town in 10, 15, 20 years' time. And the worry for people with big owners coming in and plastering large amounts of cash around, at least in the short term, is that if that's not sustainable, when the bubble bursts, you're in a worse position. Now, I think for Wrexham, I get the feeling the guys that came in have invested kind of psychologically and emotionally with the community, and I hope they do sustain that interest. But generally speaking, football teams or investment in football in Britain at the lower end of the spectrum is spectacularly dumb as an investment opportunity, and that's quoting the financial expert. And I noticed the other day there was a National League South team, Hampton and Richmond, or something like that, lost £1 million last year. And you're thinking,
really?
Wow, what are they spending it on?
And they'll be part time, won't they?
Oh yeah, you would have thought so, wouldn't you?
So it won't be.
Yeah, I could have sworn I saw some news headline that said someone was paying 3.3 million for not even, maybe it was a full ownership of a club in the 7th tier or something, and I was like, that's only just absorb someone that has some debts, because you're going to end up spending way more than that, and there's no guarantee. You can assemble the best squad or collection of players, but some of these guys that have a better team unity and a better fans, and they want it more, they're going to beat you.
Yeah, and
That's right.
And our manager we've got now, David Artell.
That's what we're doing, isn't it?
He's building the right type of players into a team, as opposed to signing stars, because we don't have money to buy stars. It's just not there. If we did, it would be throwing somebody's money into the club, as we would say, willy-nilly. But there you go. It's not sustainable.
That's it. That's why we're going to Iceland and Faroe Islands and doing a lot of scouting. Even our manager, he's not head coach, isn't he?
Yeah,
that's his title.
He's from Gibraltar, right?
He's
actually from Rotherham. I think he was born in Rotherham.
Okay.
But he played for Gibraltar.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
international.
That's crazy.
Played 7 games for Gibraltar, and he's bought into the owners' liking for making investment decisions with data, so the right kind of players, and tapping into those markets.
I think like the democratization of data availability to everyone is going to be very, very interesting, because there'll be some clubs that choose to use it and some clubs that choose not to.
Yeah, and so in a tenuous link to your name to our football club, we invited you along to come and speak to us about the whole world of football, including our clubs. The world you've embraced as I'll refer to you as a British football fan, as you absolutely are. And we're very pleased you're able to come and join us and spend this really enjoyable hour talking about the sport we love, Jack. So we thank you for that, and hopefully you'll find time in your schedule sometime to make a trip to Blundell Park and give us your view on small town football in the UK.
Well, thank you, Dave. Thank you, Steve. It's absolutely been my pleasure, and I do want to see some football lower on the pyramid than the Premier League. And believe me, if I'm coming up to Grimsby, you'll be the first to know.
Look us up. We'll make you feel welcome, and it'd be great to see you.
And we'll definitely sort a shirt out for you.
Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah,
thanks again, Jack, and take care, and
Yeah.
all the best with your endeavours on your content and your work.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
This is John Sander. You're listening to Three Fish on the Shirt.
Anything else from you, Steve, this week before we move on?
No, just looking forward to tomorrow night's game. We've got Saturday, Tuesday, haven't we, coming up?
Yep. So we've got
what's
is it Walsall at the weekend, isn't it? So
Walsall and Notts County.
yeah. So we're playing some teams at the top end. So the next few games could be quite sort of season defining. Well, not defining. The games have already gone, and the games that are after that will also define. But this will really shape whether it's we drop into the mid-table or whether we actually push into the playoffs.
I was just looking at the games tomorrow night, and nearly all the games are top teams against bottom teams in the bottom half.
Yeah.
There's none. There don't seem to be any games where
they're playing each
top
other.
teams have played each other. Just the odd one.
Yeah, we want the odd one to be playing two top teams together when we're playing one of the bottom teams, don't we?
Yeah, so you got Accrington Stanley, MK Dons, Bradford, Cheltenham, Bromley, Doncaster, Carlisle, Walsall. That's bottom top. Colchester, Chesterfield, Crewe, Fleetwood, Town, Tranmere, Morecambe, Wimbledon, Notts County, Barrow. You know what I mean? They're all sort of not playing each other, so we could do with a few of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll leave it there then, Steve. We'll catch up tomorrow night in person with my Wirral supporting friend.
That's right. Yeah. No, I haven't met him. That's right. Yeah. All right.
Good. Well, all the best, and I'll see you tomorrow night. And
see you tomorrow about 7ish.
Up the Mariners!
Up the Mariners!
Thank you for watching or listening to tonight's show. You can catch us on YouTube, podcasts on Podbean or Apple Podcasts. You can also find us on our social media channels of Instagram, Twitter or X as it's now known, TikTok and Facebook. Please like, subscribe and share at every opportunity. It helps us a lot.